being just out hacking.
Okay, you can showcase that, right?
Okay, well, that would require both of us to engage in some sort of scaling. So, we have to start.
Yeah, I'm asking you to start first. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, cool. So what can your character do if they're just defined as being lesser than my character?
I mean, you can send me that.
Okay. Let me send this first so I can show that this is actually how it works. I've got 3 scans I'm sending. Where do I send scans at, by the way?
Scans one.
Okay, so here is the first scan. I gotta find the one where it's like, oh, your will and law. Where the fuck is that?
What is the first scan supposed to be saying?
I want to send all 3 before I explain them. So just give me a moment.
Okay. Constraint power which defines possible actions. Are the rule makers which enforce reality. There's no way you're using it. Damn you. Bro, Reaper, get your ass out the chat, bitch, nigga. It's a weapon. Wait, what character are you using?
I'm using Star Horse from Destiny.
Okay. Is that the strongest character in the verse?
This is not like a troll thing about it. That he's legitimately the strongest in the verse. Okay. It's like not even troll. Like I swear, I thought it was troll at first when my friend showed me it, but no, he wasn't. He wasn't capping to me. Anyways, okay, so
he's the strongest in the verse. Okay.
I'll just explain this scan first. What you desire and what you value as a philosophy defines and enforces reality and distorts all of existence. So that's like a.
Wait, where does it say that?
The demiurge of the hive is the worm, the demiurge of the vex is thought, and the demiurge of the fallen is ether, which is survival, and the demiurge.
Are you talking about the first scan?
Yeah.
Okay.
These things, both constraint and power, which define the universe of possible actions. These are rule makers and instruments.
Wait, what does it mean to define the universe of possible actions?
So what it relates to, and this is a consistent thing, I can show other scans of this. They can directly manipulate the laws such as axioms and ontological principles of the universe.
Wait, what's an example of an axiom? Like, what do you mean?
I mean an axiom as in like the standard meaning, not like the mathematical meaning. What it means is a statement or proposition which is regarded as being established, accepted, and or self-evidently true for an abstract system. That is
so for an abstract system?
Yes.
They can manipulate principles?
Yes.
What about the principle of identity?
I mean, I would have to. I think I can argue that, but I don't think I need to right now. I'm just arguing that they have the capacity to manipulate principles of ontological space.
I know you're saying that they can manipulate principles, right? But if I'm asking you, like for example, can they manipulate the principle of identity? And let's just say, for example, they can't do that. Then what principles can they manipulate? What are you gonna make a claim upon then?
Well, okay. Well, you would have to. I would want you to at least define to me what you would denote as like manipulating identity. Because if you want, I have a scan of a character defining another character as weaker than them, and it becomes reality.
That isn't what I'm on right now, but I'm saying manipulating identity. I would mean like, I guess, changing the law of identity itself, so making it to where, I guess you could say, X can be Y. Like, you know what I mean, right?
Oh well, I can show that like these characters can just make 2 numbers equal. Like they can just make two different
numbers equal,
which would break the standard definition of like of the law of identity.
Oh, okay. So wait, so you're saying that they could make illogical things occur?
Depends on what you mean by illogical, because I don't think that the traditional like classical logic. I don't think the laws of logic are absolute to begin with. I don't agree.
I mean, you can go about justifying that. I mean, wait. First, I just want you to justify. What would like justify an author's claim of something being logically contradictory in still being true.
Repeat what you said.
Like, what's your justification for the author being able to make true contradictions within his story?
Because he has the imaginary solution and the hypothetical value of that.
Wait, what do you mean by that? So, are you trying to say that fiction is basically just hypotheticals and imagination? He can imagine and put this thing in a hypothetical. I mean, can you go about justifying fiction being like? I agree that fiction is composed of hypotheticals, of course, but I'm asking you to justify that fiction can be composed of a hypothetical, in which this case would be a true contradiction, right?
Okay.
And can you go about justifying the author being able to imagine the logical thing?
Okay, we'll go part by part. So what fiction is literature in the form of prose that describes imaginary events and people, or something that is invented or untrue. Imagination means existing only in imagination, obviously, and a hypothetical is.
Wait, what does that have to do with hypotheticals?
because a hypothetical is an imaginary situation. It is conjectural in nature.
I know, and I agree you can say with words, right? Like with language, hypothetically, this square can have 9 sides, but I'm asking you to like justify whether or not fiction can be composed of such hypotheticals.
Okay. I thought it, therefore it has an imaginary value, and therefore
can you think of a true contradiction?
I mean, if you can denote something as a contradiction, aren't you not denoting the value that it is contradictory in a logical sense?
Wait, I mean, can you imagine a true contradiction is what I'm saying?
What do you mean by that? You're not,
like, for example, can you imagine in your head a square with 9 sides, presupposing that square means something with 4 sides?
You can. You don't have to.
Prove that.
You don't have to make an image of it. I just
did.
You prove
that?
I'm thinking of it right now.
Okay, prove you're thinking of it. Prove you're making an image of it within your head. That's what imaginary events are.
No, I don't agree that that's what imagination is.
Okay, wait. Then how are you imagining it? So what do you mean by that?
Okay. Imaginary means existing only in imagination, right?
Yeah, but what's imagination? Okay. This is what I'm saying.
Okay, an imagination is the faculty or action of forming ideas or concepts of external objects not present in the senses. That is what.
Wait. Let's get the actual definition for imagination. Cause
I just grabbed it from Oxford.
Let me see. Yeah, chill, nigga. Forming new ideas, images, or concepts, external. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. So, what's an example of that? You know. Imagination is most commonly used as you form an idea. Okay, what's forming an idea?
Imagination. That you're being pedantic.
Wait. What's the idea of a true contradiction? You mean like, I guess P being true and false at the same time?
Well, yeah, that would be a conceptualization, and it would be an imaginary value of a true contradiction.
No, that's just using language to say that. I'm saying, what's the idea of it, right? Like, for example, if I say the idea of an apple, there are properties which I can imagine which go with that apple. For example, let's say red, round, a fruit, etc. And you just saying that you can use language to justify imagination. I kind of have a problem with that. But yes, you are. You're saying you can put together words, right? And that would be a conceptualization.
No. You're conflating putting together words and putting together conceptual ideals.
Okay, no, you're saying you form the conceptual ideal by using words. That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, I'm using it from an idea. I'm forming it from an idea, not from words. We use words.
How do you form the idea, bro? That's what I'm saying.
Okay, are you like not listening? I said this twice. You do it from conceptual precepts.
Oh my god. Okay, it's going circular, right? You're saying that you conceptualize something by building an idea. I'm asking you how you build the idea. You're just going back to the conceptualizing.
No. You're conflating the point about how imagination works and what the conceptualization is. Do you want to have a talk about what conceptualization is?
Sure.
Okay, then we can do that. Imagination is.
You're not talking about just whatever.
Yeah, if you're gonna just keep cutting me off, we can move on to something else. I'm not gonna sit here and just listen to rambling from you. I'm trying to.
I don't think it's rambling.
I'm trying to say something that you asked me for. Okay.
If you have an issue, then you can concede. That's fine. But
all that conceptualization is the action or process of forming a concept or an idea of something, which basically denotes an abstract idea or concept of something.
Yes, we know.
Yes,
but that's why I asked you, what is forming an idea? What's an idea? How do you form that?
An idea is just a thought. I don't.
Yeah, a thought. Okay, so how do you go about forming those, money? That's what I'm saying.
From information.
From
I'm trying to
from
understand what you're asking.
information.
Yes, from information.
Okay. What would the thought of a true contradiction be?
The thought of the true contradiction would be the contradictory value that you're denoting as a contradiction. That's just
That's
the
just that's just
ontological
you saying that
value.
the thought of a contradiction is the thought of a contradiction. You just use bigger words to try to make it seem like it's two different things. It's not. You just said the thought of a contradiction is the thought of a contradiction, dude.
Actually, what I said is the thought of the contradiction is made up of the values that you are co-coinciding to create a contradiction, and that's what you denote as a contradiction in that logical system. Because we haven't even talked about other logical systems.
Okay, so are you referring to when you say the values of a true contradiction, you mean the two propositions that would make up the contradiction?
Yes.
Okay, I agree. You can imagine both the propositions, right? But I'm saying, how can you imagine them being true at the same time? Like, I agree. You can imagine a contradiction in the sense of you say that, okay, well, if this thing is true, then this thing is false, correct? But I'm saying, how can you imagine them both being true at the same time, which is what you're trying to argue for fiction?
Can you repeat that last little bit? I cut out.
Yeah. So I'm saying that I agree. You can imagine a contradiction in the sense where you can imagine both of the propositions, right, individually that make up the quote unquote contradiction. But I'm asking you, how can you imagine them both being true at the same time? Because that's what you're trying to argue.
Oh, well, the way that you can imagine them as being like existent at the same time is imagine if you had an object that existed in two states at once. If you had this said object that existed in two contradictory states at once, but there's proof and necessitation for it to exist in that way, then it must exist in that way.
Can you prove that?
Can I prove that? Okay.
No, I mean, can you prove you can even imagine something in two contradictory states at once? Because that's kind of what I asked you to prove already, right?
Can I prove that something can exist in two contradictory states at once?
That's not what I said. Okay. I said prove you can imagine it.
That means the same thing.
No, it doesn't. What? Wait, you don't think that? Wait, you don't think that you can imagine or not be able to imagine something that could possibly exist?
If you're imagining something, then there is the denotation that it has some correlation to an existential value.
No, that isn't what I asked you. That's just jargon, man. What I'm saying is, okay, do you agree that it is possible that you cannot imagine something, but the thing that you cannot imagine could actually exist within reality?
You cut out again. There's like a bunch of half of that sentence was missing.
Okay, I'll repeat it. So, do you agree that there is possibly something that you cannot imagine, but that thing that you cannot imagine can exist? Like, for example, in apophatic God. Yes. Okay, so you agree to that. So
I would agree with an apophatic status to some degree.
Okay, so do you agree that so you agree to that actually? So I'm not going to ask you to prove that something can be logically contradictory or exist in two states at once. I'm going to ask you to prove. Wait, hold on. I'm going to ask you to prove that you can imagine it.
Can I prove that I can imagine it? Okay, yeah. Well, I can make an imaginary reference to it, just like when you apophatically describe something. If we're going to talk about apophatics, when you apophatically describe something, you are being informed on that thing. When you describe something apophatically, you describe it by what it's not. And if you continue to denote via negation, you can have an imaginary state of negation through information. So that is the state of information.
You're just saying we know what a contradiction is not, which is literally everything that we know. So that doesn't defeat what I'm saying.
That's not what I said. And
the apophatic thing, that is what you're saying. You're saying that we can get knowledge upon this thing via describing it with negation. Did you not say that?
Yes, but you are entailing that it means something different than what I'm intending.
No, what I clarified is that if we can clarify what a contradiction is via the negation, then again, I don't think that means that we could actually say what a contradiction is or imagine it. You're just saying that it's not this thing, right?
Okay. My thing is that I would state that is a form of imagination and a form of conceptualization.
Okay, so you're saying that we know what this thing is not, therefore we can imagine it or have a thought of it?
Yeah, you are having a thought of it via informing it, yes.
Okay, so if I say that a contradiction is not an apple, then that means that I know what a contradiction is and I can imagine a true contradiction?
You have some conceptual aptness to that thing. Yes.
We have some conceptual knowledge to what this thing is not. I agree, but I'm saying prove that you can imagine it, right? Because
Okay,
you're gonna make the claim that this thing can exist. Wait, for example, the claim that you made where you said this thing can be, or a object can be in two contradictory states at once. Prove that.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll just go get some quantum physics.
Okay. I know you're going to use wave particles, but
I'm not
I just want to
wave particle duality is not a good example for things existing in two contradictory states. Actually, Hilbert inequalities are better for that.
Wait, can I clarify one thing for you before you go do that and waste your time?
Yeah, sure.
Do you remember when I said prove that you can imagine it, prove that it not, or you don't have to prove that it can exist, you have to prove you can imagine it, right? So like, for example, I'm not saying
I think those are
this is true. I'm not saying this is true. Wait, hold up. Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not saying this is true, but hypothetically, if you were to prove that contradictions can exist in reality, but we cannot imagine them, it would not justify your point.
Okay, cool. My point was that they exist in the first place.
That doesn't. Wait. I'm just even presupposing that's true, which I don't entirely agree with yet because I don't have enough information to say I agree with it yet, right? But even going to the presupposition that's true, that doesn't justify that you can imagine it. Let's say hypothetically, there is a true contradiction, right? But we cannot imagine it.
Okay.
If you cannot imagine the said thing, you cannot put this into fiction because fiction is the set of imaginary events.
I have a legitimate question for you. If you can take in and compute qualia on something, can you imagine?
What does that mean?
Do you fucking know what qualia is? Do I gotta explain to you normal
What's
philosophy?
compete qualia? Compute qualia. This nigga's getting so mad.
No, I'm just clarifying because I can't tell if you can hear me or not.
No, I can't. I just don't know what it means. What is it?
Okay, qualia is the information you derive from your consciousness. It is information that your mind is interpreting and intaking.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you think that if you intake qualia of something, are you or are you not inherently imagining that thing?
Not necessarily.
Why not?
Okay. I mean, again, maybe I'm not understanding you right, but if you're saying that you're taking information or you're getting a description of what this thing is and you're intaking it, then you could be imagining it or you are imagining it, right? Again, this goes back to the other point where you're saying if you're going to clarify or you're going to say what this thing is or try to describe it or imagine it via the negation, I don't believe, I mean, unless you can justify it, I just don't currently uphold the belief that that thing can actually be imagined. You're just saying what it's not, right? That does not mean you're actually imagining it in its two states.
That's conflating what I was actually going to say. That's trying to relate it to the previous point. What I'm trying to say is if I can prove
what we're going on.
No. If I can prove that this thing exists and we can intake qualia in it, that means we are imagining it, yes or no? That is my question.
Wait. Okay, what do you mean by I still don't understand what you mean when you say that, right? So if you're able to quote unquote prove that this thing exists, then what? How does that justify us imagining it? Go ahead.
Okay, again, that's why I asked you a previous question.
And wait, actually, let me re-clarify my question. When you say intake qualia, what do you mean? Because that means intaking information, right?
It means some form of perceptive information of a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So what is the information you'd be taking from this quote unquote true contradiction?
Well, that depends on my proof, which I haven't got to yet. I'm asking the question whether if I prove something exists and we are actually intaking information about it, are we or are we not imagining it? That is my question. That I'm asking you a question. It's not. There's no room for some sort of. It's a yes or no question. It is a yes or no question.
Well, I'm saying. No, actually, because I'm not going to make a claim on that yet because I don't know. I'm not entirely understanding what you're trying to say, nor have you justified what you're trying to say.
And I will break it down.
Wait, I need to ask you a question first.
Okay, go ahead.
For example, if we're quote unquote intaking qualia, is the information that we're intaking the information that it's a true contradiction?
The information could be any status of its existence. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so for example, it being a true contradiction.
For example, if we intake it if we prove it exists as a true contradiction, we intake the information that it is a true contradiction, and we imagine it as an existential true contradiction, and we are currently imagining.
That's just you. That's again just you saying it's a true contradiction. I don't think there's any difference between you.
But did you ignore the last thing I just said about other properties that also exist that we denote its nature from? Or did you just skip over that and not
When did you say that?
I literally just said that. I literally just said word for word.
This nigga must have said that at the speed of light.
I literally said the qualia of the properties that make it up, as well as the properties, and then you cut me off and asked about the true contradiction. I was literally going to say that as well.
But you're talking too fast, bro. You got to calm the fuck down, bro. You get angry too.
I'm not getting angry. I just talk fast.
And you're like it's not like you're getting mad. All right, chill. Go back on your point. What were you saying, bro? I need you to like repeat that.
Okay. I will break it down and explain this slowly. What I said was, we will intake the quality of several properties, including that of it being a true contradiction.
Okay.
So it's not me stating that. I'm just saying, I'm imagining it's a true contradiction because it's just a true contradiction. No, I'm imagining the status of its existence through its relational properties.
Oh, are you saying that you are quote unquote imagining something's existing as a true contradiction and imagining the properties that it upholds as a true contradiction? Like, for example, if you're able to prove that there's a square with 9 sides that exists, you can imagine that this thing exists as a true contradiction and also upholds the properties of having 9 sides and 4 sides at the same time.
Yes.
Okay. So, so again, I agree that you can claim or you can talk about what the true contradiction could be or is, right? But that does not mean. I mean, can you justify you being able to, or that being able to like imagine it in its truest form? That's what I'm saying. Well, I agree you can talk about it.
What do you mean by in truest form? I don't think imagination has truth aptness.
Okay, you're not that. That's a whole different point, man. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. But when I say imagine in its truest form, I mean imagine it as being a true contradiction. I know you're claiming, right, that this thing is a true contradiction, and you're saying that the properties it upholds, right? But I'm saying, does that mean you could actually imagine it? For example, if I say the words inside my head, there is a square with 9 sides. That is me talking about what this hypothetical contradiction could be. It is a square with 9 sides, right? I know the properties I'm claiming it upholds, but can you justify that actually being able to be imagined or conceptualized?
Well, you just conceptualize it. You're just not creating an image of your head of it, which I already.
How is that me conceptualizing it?
Okay, conceptualization is making the idea of something. So the fact that you just made the idea of a square with 9 sides that contradicts 4 sides.
Oh my god! What is the idea of a fucking square with 9 sides, dude?
That is the idea. You just stated it.
The idea of a square with 9 sides. The idea of a square with 9 sides.
Just like how the idea of death is the idea of death. That's the nature of its properties.
Wait. I agree that I would have the idea, right? Or when I make these, when I put these words in conjunction with language, I agree that I can imagine a square and something with 9 sides and claim that this thing is true or being used in conjunction. But I'm asking you to prove that you can imagine that being true.
Okay, you just conceptualized it. Like you're conceding to your own.
I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it to be true. That's not conceptualizing.
My thing is that if we're talking about the conceptual status of something, it either can be conceptualized or cannot. So that means if it can be conceptualized, it would be the status of truth, and if it cannot, it would be false. You just conceptualize it, therefore it has a true conceptual.
Do you think that language entirely, or do you think that language inherently means you're conceptualizing something?
Yes.
Okay. So you think that okay, so what if I say the word what if I use the word unimaginable, or like I said, like apophatic before? We already went through this, dude. Like
okay, no. You're just conceptualizing an apophatic status. Like you're not.
I'm conceptualizing something apophatic.
Yes.
Or something unimaginable.
You're conceptualizing it.
So I'm imagining something unimaginable.
You're relating to the existence of something. You can't just because you can't imagine something in totality doesn't mean you can't imagine its precepts.
Wait, no. Wait, I already agree that you can imagine something's
goofball.
Which is, I already agreed you can imagine something's properties. Like, for example, you can imagine something, you can imagine a square and something with 9 sides, but I'm asking you to prove that you can imagine it in its totality, because what you're claiming to put something in a fictional verse is that this thing is true in its totality. So prove
I have
that.
a question for you. Is something made up of its parts?
Is something made up of its parts?
That's just a simple question. Is it?
Do
you think
typically?
So or do you think not? Okay, what do you mean by typically? Give me an exception where something is not made up of its parts.
I never claimed there was anything that's not made up of parts.
Typically denotes that there's cases where that's not the case.
Mm.
So that
well, what I meant by typically was that usually that's what I see, but I'm not going to make a claim on whether or not that's necessarily the case or not, right? Because if I were to say things are made up of their parts, or all things are made up of their parts, that's me claiming that this thing is true in all cases, which I'm not going to do. So from what I know in my epistemic, things are mostly made up of their parts. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if we were to denote some object, right, and we knew its parts, those parts make up the whole. So if we know everything that makes up something, we also know what that thing is because all the parts make up a whole.
Wait, that presupposes that you can even have something that operates under what's the word for it? That presupposes you can have something that operates under the function where it exists in two contradictory states.
No, it doesn't. I'm just asking you questions. Like I'm not.
That's not a question. You just made a claim. When did this nigga add a question?
No. I asked if you think that do you agree? Like it's a question. If you would agree that if we have some object and we don't know the total object, but we over time deduce all of its parts, and we know that's all of the parts, and then does that yes or no denote the whole thing because parts make up the whole?
Wait. Like I just said, if you're trying to apply that to a contradiction, and you're trying to say that this logic would apply to a contradiction, then that presupposes, right, that contradictions can work with all these parts in conjunction, which is what I'm asking you to justify.
Okay.
Yo, drip. You know, drip in the Urban Dictionary means you have a disease.
Shut the fuck up, nigga.
What did he just say? Okay.
Go ahead.
That's some dork ass shit.
Go ahead.
So what burden are you trying to suppose? What exactly are you supposing? Because you've gone back to this point multiple times after I've tried. So you need to break this down in multiple ways. Because
I think I already have, bro.
What if we talk about proof by contradiction?
Proof by contradiction? You mean saying that something is or isn't the case? Which is, are you saying that isn't proof by contradiction where you assert that something is or isn't the case by virtue of the opposition being true or false?
Well, no. Okay. Proof by contradiction is a form of proof that establishes the truth or validity of a proposition by showing that assuming the proposition to be any other status, doesn't have to be false, by the way, leads to contradiction.
That's what I just fucking said.
Those are two different sentences, but it's fine. Those are two different sentences.
I know they're two different sentences, but that's the same thing.
No, they don't. They mean different things.
Whatever, bro. Go ahead.
Okay, so what exactly are you trying to say?
You're almighty.
Because you.
I was finna leave the server, muted me on some dumb shit.
Who muted you?
Nigga, some retard, probably Reaper's autistic ass.
Yo, you said what, Hunter?
What exactly are you trying to get the set the bar for? What exactly are you trying to find? Because you're not trying to find the existence. You're not trying to find if I can conceptualize this thing. So what are you trying to find?
Okay, well, originally I asked you to prove that you can imagine this thing. You said you can conceptualize it because you're building the idea. You said building the idea is putting its parts together or conceptualizing its parts and trying to build this thing up and use all these parts in conjunction, right? But I just said to you, right, in order to try to apply this to a contradiction, that presupposes that you can use its parts in conjunction, which is what's in question.
Well, okay, if you were to do that, so how do you define a contradiction?
A proposition that is simultaneously true and false.
Well, I wouldn't agree that's what a contradiction is.
What? That's not the logical definition of a contradiction?
A contradiction are two propositions or one proposition that have a contradictory status.
Yeah.
Opposing each other or being true and false at the same time.
Yeah, okay. That's the same thing as what I just said.
Okay, so no. Here's my question. Is that or is that not defined by its parts?
Is what, a contradiction not defined by its parts?
Is a contradiction defined by its parts?
Via language, you are claiming that this thing upholds these properties.
Okay,
that's what I'm asking you to prove.
What about conceptual values?
What do you mean conceptual values?
Such as the conceptual status of the propositional statement, because that's what a propositional statement is.
Are you claiming that you can conceptualize the proposition being true and false? Or are you saying conceptualizing both truth values of the proposition?
If the question is if you can conceptualize both values of the proposition, and the proposition itself, by the way, is an ontological value. If you can conceptualize that, where does the issue come in?
Okay, I agree. You can conceptualize both parts. You can conceptualize the proposition being true. You can conceptualize the proposition being false. But I'm asking you to prove is to conceptualize you putting both of those propositions into conjunction, right? And I'm guessing you're going to go back onto your circular argument, which is put into question, and so that you're imagining these parts and you're just going to use them in conjunction. Circular as fuck.
My thing is that you're asking me to prove that I can use things in conjunction. Okay, then what are you saying?
Prove you can use both two contradictory propositions in conjunctions. I said.
You make the propositional statement, therefore you are in some way.
You make the propositional what? My mic cut out. Sorry.
You make it when you make a propositional statement. You are applying the conceptual values and the ontological values to it. That means if I make a statement that contradicts itself, then you still have the apparent antinomy, and you still have the conceptual value of that contradiction, and you are still conceptualizing that contradiction.
Why does language? You're not answering the question because as to why
inherently denotes an ontological value.
Wait,
in all cases,
I agree. What do you mean it denotes an ontological value?
If you state something,
this nigga's saying big words. Okay.
If you state something, you are informing an idea via proposition. That is what semantic form and propositions are.
I still don't understand what you're getting at, my nigga.
Okay. I don't like trying to teach ontology.
I'm not teaching anything. I'm just clarifying your argument, though, bro.
Okay.
Don't get in your head.
Don't call me that, kid. Don't call me that.
Okay.
Don't call me that.
Bro, who is this?
Fucking calling me little, bro. You're calling him so dumb.
What is littlest bro talking about? Focus on the debate, bro.
Anyways, get a personal view. Okay.
Alright, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, little bro.
I was in the process of about to speak and you go to cut me off, but it's fine. If I make a statement, I am informing an idea, and therefore I am applying a ontological value to it. I am presenting an idea and a concept. If I am conceptualizing something or imagining something, then it is sustained that I can imagine or conceptualize that thing. That is standard chain of causation. I'm not done talking.
Wait, are you saying
I am not done
I don't care. Nigga, you're gonna shotgun me, bro. You already made a claim, bro. I don't care.
I'm not shotgunning because I didn't finish my point.
Oh my god, nigga, you're gonna don't go on to a separate point then. Like, I just want to clarify something. I want to clarify something.
I'm not gonna go on to a separate point.
Oh my god, I want to clarify.
You're not gonna clarify anything. You're gonna let me talk.
I'm not gonna clarify anything.
I'm going to personal mute you until I finish my sentence.
You can go ahead.
Because I'm making one point that may have.
Is this guy good? This nigga's pressed.
I don't want to cut off.
This nigga's going through a midlife crisis. It's just a debate, bro. It's not that serious, nigga.
That's not even about just my life. That's Focus.
Bro, this nigga, bro. Okay. Do you have me local muted still?
No, I don't have you local muted. I just responded to you. Use your head.
I didn't hear you because Archie was laughing at you, bro, and I was laughing too.
Well, why are other people talking? Anyway.
He's not talking. He's laughing. But anyway, wait. So when you say that you use like language and like say words, are you saying that by using language you're presenting an idea via this language?
Yes.
Okay, I agree. If I have the idea of an apple in my head and you say the word apple, that I have the idea of apple inside of my head. And I agree you can use language to try to conceptualize things or as a tool to conceptualize things. But why does that mean that necessarily everything you say with language automatically presents a concept?
Well, because everything that you denote as have meaning, when you state it, you are stating that meaning. Which directly means that you are conceptualizing that thing when you state something.
Are you saying that when I state a word, the word has a definition that correlates to something?
I'm saying that it has a correlation to an idea.
Most of the time, sure, but I mean, from what I know, that's usually how it works. But I'm asking you to prove that that's like that for all things. Like,
okay.
I mean, like I said, wait, chill.
When language is created,
Oh my
we
God.
use language to describe ideas. That is just what language is.
We can use it to describe ideas, but but I'm asking you to prove that. Wait. Oh my God, chill. So I agree that if you have an idea, you can attempt or try to use language to describe that idea. But what I'm asking you to prove is that using language and just saying shit out of your ass. For example, oh, this square has 1,000 sides. That's just you saying words with language, two propositions, right?
Everyone react to a Captain D in the chat.
It's like it's true. But yeah, I'm asking you to prove why anything you say with language inherently correlates to an idea. Okay, this is what your argument was. You said that all your ideas use language or attempt to use language, use language to attempt to describe them. That's mostly how it goes, but why does that work the other way around, where everything you say with language inherently gives you an idea? Saying, bro. Did he say be right back? I couldn't hear him. I just heard loud ass music and he went on mute.
Yeah.
Oh, nigga.
Not that kind of nigga's AFK. I'm not gonna lie. What is this music? Oh, what the hell? I didn't even realize my phone was in the background. Anyways, I'm not gonna lie, that nigga Hunter's a retard. I think that nigga is strong with it.
Yeah.
Cause what the fuck? And logical pluralism, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but his description of it.
I didn't hear a
really
word you just said because my fiance called me, and that's more important than this. So, what did you say?
So, like I said, you're trying to say that all ideas that we have can be
Is he cutting out for everyone else, or he's just cutting out for me? Because he just like disappeared. He's like got deleted.
Is the good
to map out an idea? I agree. I know that, right? And that language can be used to map out ideas or to describe ideas or to propose an idea. I know that, but I'm asking you to prove that language in all cases, such as in this case, a true contradiction saying this apple exists and doesn't exist at the same time, would immediately propose an idea of these things being true in conjunction. So, what's your justification?
If you are presenting an idea and you are trying to convey an idea, that means you have the capacity to imagine that idea. That's like the entire point. I don't really see what your burden you're trying to apply. I don't even think that this is a valid burden at this point.
What? I agree that if you successfully propose an idea, then the person can imagine it. But I'm asking.
I don't think. No. I don't think you need to successfully propose something to exist for it to be an idea. What? I can say
that isn't what I said.
I can say a sentence that is totally absurd, right? And it can still have meaning. It can still have an idea behind it.
Yeah, does that attack what I said? That isn't attacking what I said, right? Because what I'm saying is that I'm responding directly to what you said. Because you said you can propose an idea, and then the person can have the idea. Wait. Okay, oh my God! Wait, you didn't understand, bro. So when I said successfully propose the idea, I mean propose the idea with language in a way to where the person can imagine it, right? So in this case, successfully proposing the idea would be you proposing to me a true contradiction and me imagining the true contradiction in my head. That would be successfully proposing the idea to somebody.
I have a question.
What's up?
If I make a statement and it holds meaning, can you understand that meaning? Okay.
I mean, I guess.
Okay, so would that
usually, yeah.
Okay. Would that thing be informed?
What do you mean be informed?
Informed means you are gaining information from it.
Yeah, typically, yeah.
Okay. So
okay.
if I make a statement that has meaning, and you can understand that meaning, is that or is that not you understanding that meaning and gaining that informed knowledge of what that means?
Typically, yeah.
Okay.
It's not attacking, but I said
So
okay.
if I can prove that meaning and an idea are the same thing, then I can just move on, right?
Wait, that's not. Wait, did you try to use that to prove that meaning and idea are the same thing?
No, I didn't. I didn't say that yet.
That's
I was asking you a question.
Meaning and idea are the same thing.
If I can prove meaning and idea are the same thing, can I move on from this?
If you prove that and prove that,
because you had already agreed that if we can actually have the idea of something, that would be imagination via the conceptualization point. Okay, and imagination is the inherency of fiction. So we can go all the way through this. Okay, so if I can prove that meaning and idea are the same thing, would that, yes or no, correlate to imagining the thing? If we understand the meaning, we understand the idea, therefore those correlate to the same thing. So can we move on from that if I can prove that?
By the meaning of a contradiction, you mean the meaning being that this thing is a true contradiction?
No, are you? I'm gonna bang my head against the floor.
Or let me give a better example, because that, I mean, I thought it was pretty simple. But
no. If I understand the meaning of this thing is so and not so, if I understand the meaning of this thing is so and not so, does that mean I understand the idea of that thing?
That's a contradiction, like I just said. If you understand the meaning that this thing is so and not so,
it's a question. Just fucking answer it.
Yeah,
Holy shit!
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. And why would you say maybe?
What? Because I don't know. That's why I said I don't know. Maybe.
I have a question. Does everything have meaning? Does everything have meaning? Because this is just a question. Do you think there are things that cannot be informed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Bro, you ask me these questions trying to trap me, nigga. I don't fucking know.
This isn't a. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this. These aren't traps. These are legitimate questions.
Okay. Do I think everything has meaning?
Do you think that there are things that absolutely cannot have some form of meaning? Like it can't even be informed at all?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so we're reaching an impasse on your supposition, because I'm not understanding, and you're not providing me with a solid point to go off of at all.
I think I have.
You are giving me a vague reposition. That is all you are doing.
I mean, you're asking me. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think that I gave a pretty good.
Okay. No. My question basically at this point goes, okay, do you think that everything has a meaning, including the statement of a true contradiction? Does that have a meaning?
Don't know.
What? How do you not know if something has meaning or not?
I don't know. What do you mean by meaning?
The intention behind a statement, word, text, or concept, or action, or
the
etc.
intention behind a statement.
The intended thing that is meant to be communicated. It's not directly expressed, and all that, etc. You know, like the actual.
Are you saying? Meaning. Are you saying when you say contradiction, you're tending to say that this thing is true and not true at the same time?
Where did that come into?
Is that what you mean?
I'm asking you a question.
Hello. Yeah. I'm trying to clarify so I know how to answer the question.
The question is: do you think that everything has meaning? Like, is there an intention?
Bro, my nigga, like, bro,
an idea behind everything. You are being. I think you're being focused. Like, you're not getting through to me. I think you're being vague. I'm not understanding what you're asking.
I'm trying to ask you a clarifying question. So, by something having meaning, let me give an example by that, just so I can actually answer your question. Okay. Calm down.
Okay.
So, if I say, for example, the meaning behind a contradiction is to say that this thing is true and not true at the same time.
Okay. It has all that means. I'm asking you if you think everything has meaning. I haven't even spoken about this contradiction thing because we can get to that.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
So you don't know.
But I'm asking you about the contradiction thing.
So you don't know if anything has meaning. So how can you assert that anything at all has?
That's
any
not
meaning?
what I said. I said I don't know if
Okay,
everything has meaning.
Okay, you don't know if everything has meaning. Okay,
Yeah,
so
this nigga just tried so.
okay.
Y'all saw that?
Stop, like doing this. I'm trying to talk. You cut me off. I'm not doing this with you.
Go ahead, bro. Nigga, what the fuck?
Okay, would you think and agree that anything that
Pause.
to
Y'all no
say,
judge. Hold on, Hunter. Y'all don't have no judge. Y'all can't. Are y'all gonna teach like off recording?
We can give it to the
Finally, I was
recording.
finna say.
Cause that nigga
We go to
left.
the recording.
Like, are y'all still finna continue?
No,
We can go
I'm
to
not
the
gonna say
recording,
anything. I have to leave anyways.
Okay.
In like less than an hour.
Or Infinity, or not Infinity, but what's your name?
But let me
Hunter.
we can continue with
Chips.
this point,
Wait, hold on.
because
Real
Wait,
quick,
he's-
Hunter, I got a question.
Right,
He
just
has
this
me muted, bro.
Nigga, what'd I do?
What'd you say?
This nigga dick
Okay.
riding.
Okay, Hunter, wait. All right, Hunter,
I just
what?
finna ask if they want to do debate.
I just want to ask you one last question, which
Yeah,
this is, and I'm gonna clarify what I mean. So, when I state, do you agree that everything has meaning? I'm saying is that if everything that is like communicated, do you think that there is an intended purpose or information behind that?
I don't know.
Okay, so if you don't know if every statement can have information, how can you discern what does and does not give information as a statement?
I mean, if you define meaning as having intention behind something, or when you say a word, you intend for that word to have a some sort of, I guess you can say, meaning or intention to convey something.
Okay.
And sure, I agree when you say I'm going to the store, you're trying to convey that you were going to
Okay.
drive down to the fucking store, right? I agree with that, but I don't know. Maybe listen, maybe
Okay.
possibly there is some word or something that you try to convey that doesn't have meaning. I don't know, maybe.
Okay, but the problem with that is that all of linguistics intentions something and has supposed meaning. That is the point of linguistics and semantics.
Okay, so are you so you're saying that all words in linguistics have meaning?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, but I'm asking you. You asked me if everything does. I obviously in linguistics or like in English, every word has meanings. That's what words do.
Everything we communicate is through a semantic standpoint. Everything.
I mean,
there's not a single thing that is not that we can discuss that is not done so in some form of communication.
I mean, I don't know if that's true.
Okay,
you can try to justify that if you want.
Okay, if I were to try and justify it, we are speaking. First of all, we're speaking about a topic right now. Okay, so we have intended meaning there. If we were to talk about any topic, we would suppose that there is an intended reason we are talking about it. So it doesn't matter what that thing is. There is no like dependent nature on that for us to denote it that way. So literally, as we are saying, meaning can be denoted to anything and everything. So we can use semantics and linguistics on any topic.
We can use on any topic that we can talk about, yeah, but you said it applies to literally anything. That means literally any possible conversation, right?
Well, yeah, because the conversation is communicating, so you are inherently
yeah. If you're communicating something with somebody, obviously there's meaning behind your communication, but you said literally everything. So if you're talking about just conversations, then sure.
If we make a statement, we can go on apophatic status even. We don't.
Okay.
You describe apophatic thing negatively. You can't really, but you're still having linguistics about that topic. I would sit here and argue, and we can go into this point if you want, that all things are derived from information. Everything is information. Everything that possibly could or could not exist.
Does this have anything to do with the point?
Yes, because information is inherently meaning.
Wait, am I tripping? I feel like he's going completely off the point, but we can just go ahead.
I'm arguing about the simplicity of semantics throughout all topics, like possible and impossible.
Does this have to do with the point?
Yes, it does, because if I prove that everything has meaning, that means that my statement has an idea, which goes back to the conceptualization point.
Wait, but nigga, by the statement, do you mean the contradiction?
It's any statement. I don't care.
Oh my fucking god! We're highlighting the contradiction. If you're because I just want to say this before we go on this irrelevant tangent. if you're gonna say the contradiction,
Monkey.
then sure, I do agree that when you say something, you are intending to portray this idea. I agree to that. That's
Okay.
what I. Okay,
and
so for example,
to portray,
oh my god,
communicate an idea, you have to have some semblance of that idea inherently.
that's why I said you're attempting to. I didn't say you were actually doing it.
Oh, there is no. To even attempt to describe meaning, there has to be some precept of meaning there to begin with. Anyways,
So wait, so in order to, what did you say? Okay. In order to attempt, did he say be right back? I didn't hear. I'm not gonna lie. Can somebody clarify that in the chat?
You're out of time anyways. I gotta go.
Okay, bye.
Why did this nigga, bro? Why is he so angry?
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Focus. D1 he's not judging no more, nigga. Oh my god.
D1 doesn't want to
You want
judge.
to get this nigga pick perms, bro. That's all you had to do.
Nah, cause Doma,
God, bro.
Infinity acting like Infinity's a goofball sometimes.
Bro, you gotta stop being top Discord mod sometime, bro.
This nigga is
You
one of
have
the
to do it.
like that was some Reddit mod shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie, that
you
was some
gotta-
Reaper
bro,
activity.
Nigga, we could have had easy ass